I'm Melissa Lane, and welcome to the LifeKraft Podcast. LifeKraft is passionate about helping you live your everyday life better by sharing inspiration, awareness, and tools to enable you to create a fulfilling life. Where does all our dysfunction come from? In this episode of 7 Minutes to Success, we feature best-selling author and clinical psychologist Dr. Shefali Tsabary, who explores these questions and begins to shed light on the importance of conscious parenting and how it can help us create a whole new world. Enjoy.
Where is all this coming from? So obviously the first source every psychologist knows is the childhood. That's kind of easy. Books, tomes, theories. Freud has become famous because he figured that out. It all begins in childhood. So that's easy. But then what? Now what do we do with the dysfunction that you and I are products of? What do we do with that? So I began to uncover within my own quest, within my own spiritual journey, now what? So if it's in childhood, it's got to be the parent. But you can't just tell the parent it's the parent, because let me tell you, there is no one more defensive than the parent. Even spouses, they'll back off. But the parent, the very reason we become a parent is to be the parent, to identify with the identification of the parent. And right behind that, in the shadow of that label, is I have to be a good parent. And that just means that my child has no choice but to be some version of some nuance of a superstar. This is my mission. And the parenting industrial complex, PIC, has sold us on this mythology that we are some sort of martyrs and saints. You know, I often ask parents, especially mothers, yeah? So did you hear your child ask you to save it from the dungeons of hell that it was in? Did you hear the hearkening call saying, you beautiful woman with that beautiful man, you are the ones I want to manifest in form with. Because if you leave me here in the ether of consciousness, I won't become. You will help me become great. Did you hear them say that? Because we believe that we are doing a great justice to the earth by having these children. So then our mission, you see, because of this parenting paradigm, is to do it with zeal, to do it with vigor. In fact, the only reason we had children, we've been told, is to make them happy and them successful. This is what the complex tells us. This is what the paradigm has sold us. So in the name of that is great capitalism. It used to be, just rugby around the corner. We'll buy a ball. We'll invest in a ball. But then the industry and the complex realized, parents are a lot more afraid. Let's capitalize on that a little bit. There's a lot more fear to be capitalized upon, to make capital. Let's stir it up a little bit. Let's not just tell them that children need some activities and some degrees and some education. No. Let's keep churning their fear and keep making capital. And so here we are in this parenting paradigm of today, which is mostly capitalistic. But the one who is the cattle are our children. You and I were raised in a generation of benign neglect. Our parents really were self-absorbed in a different way, in a healthier way. But today's parents, no. They're self-absorbed in a self-sacrificing way. No one is more dangerous than a self-sacrificing, self-absorbed narcissist. Because everything that is done is not done for me, it's done for you to be happy and successful. So in the name of happiness and success, we now have a huge problem. And it is a machinery that churns out children to become products, not humans. You and I are barely authentic, barely our true human self. You and I, with the benign neglect of parents knocked out on weed or just so fascinated with television that came out, when we were growing up, or so excited that they had a few trinkets or could send you to summer camp. Though, back then, we had parents who were around, and they didn't look at us that much, and look at how effed up we are. Now today, children are in a petri dish to be made into some animatronics version of themselves. This is the plague of parenting today. This is what I see. So when I began to discover that the problem isn't just childhood, easy. Freud had it easy. No. The problem is some illness in this parenting paradigm. There is great toxicity here. And unless we go to the root of this toxicity, which includes, in large, a great inner thirst of the parent, which is essentially unquenchable. If we don't get to that thirst, children will forever be sent to be prey, to be fed off, to fill that inner hunger of their parents. You and I were raised knowing that we were not who our parents said we were. We know, that's why we're here in this room today, that we have to discover who it is we are, who we truly, authentically are. This is why we're here. We're questing, we're searching for something that was ours, our birthright to begin with. But because of our unconscious parents, we lost our way. Imagine today. Today, parents with a zeal put their children to be engineered in school after school, in institution after institution, in activity after activity. But the root of the problem is the same, cross generations, cross decades, cross lifetimes. It is this parenting paradigm that has at its core that children are to be possessed and owned. You and I were possessed and owned by our parents to some degree or the other. We were instruments of their self-absorption. Now it's just extreme, it's on steroids. Now it's blatant, unabashed.
Thank you for tuning in to this episode. Remember, this is only a segment of the whole presentation. Please follow the link in the description below to listen to it in full. If you loved this episode, please leave a positive review for us and let us know on social media at the LifeKraft what inspired you. We will connect again in the next episode, and until then, keep creating a life you are excited to wake up to.